Good evening. This is Ken at Tortoise Capital with the daily quiz for January 30th, 2019. This one is looking at the market itself, symbol SPY, so has a lot to do with setting conditions for our overall trading plan. Starting at 0, I'm highlighting that this is SPY, the market, on a daily, and that is connected down here to these indicators, the MACD 1030, and then our weekly MACD. So we multiply the daily by 5, and you get parameters of 50, 150, with a moving average of simple moving average 15 as opposed to 5, to get a sense of the 4 seasons of MACD histogram on the upper time frame on the weeklies. Our little thought experiment yesterday showed that looking at 5 times a daily gives you the equivalent of the weekly anyway, so now you can put it on one chart simply on TC 2000. All right, so number 1, we're looking, and 1 through 8, we're looking at the seasonality changes. This is where market went from fall to winter. I just want you to notice in each time segment the behavior of price for the duration of that seasonal signal and why we think that's pretty important. So winter transitions to spring. This one is still spring, but I want you to notice that it has now entered the Z-1 red river, and so there's a continuation leg up. Comes spring all the way till summer. Summer rolls over back into winter, rejects summer again, gets a big, long, horrible winter. I want you to notice how important that location was and how important the signal is. A rejection of the 0 line is crucial. So 6 is winter becoming spring. We can front run that with a 1, 2, 3. That's number 21. This is where that signal line enters that red river once more. Here's a decision point. Instead of rejecting like it did here, which led to that, this is positive and spring becomes summer, so we get this nice move. It was starting to stall, approaching fall, and today's little vote of confidence based on Fed commentary is pretty crucial. So that's the daily MACD 4 seasons. Number 9 through 12. Now we're just looking at the weekly MACD seasons. This is where winter begins. How nice! Or I'm sorry, fall. Excuse me, fall to here. Winter picks up into, I'm going to call this the beginning of spring, because we've got an overlap here between the 15 period moving average and the signal line itself. And I just want you to notice that this winter transitioning into spring, not unlike the weather now, is at a real extreme reading. This is extremely down, even more so than the up was extremely up. So that tells you the magnitude of this move. So that's 12. Let's see, 13. This is a key support level, so you had a double bottom, and then this resistance, which broke, held, and then broke again today, looks decisive, en route to higher. So that's 13. 14 is a pocket. I want you to notice that if you take the bottom of the 10, then you have that support and it reverses, and then when it rolls over with the P1 up in here, that this becomes the pocket. If it had broken here, we would have had a collapsing dragon and downward, but it didn't. It held support, and that move up rolled over. Now I want you to notice this had a slightly lower high, and so this becomes a pocket, and now you get the collapsing dragon into 16. So 14, so 13 is this support level and creates the demarcation line for collapsing dragons. And then 14 and 15 are pockets. 16 is the collapsing dragon. 17, where are we at here? I don't see 17. 17 is the invisible signal. 18, I want you, this is a RLXD, or actually a close, a price close above the dragon. You get the RLXD in here. 19 is the 1, 2, 3 exit. So if you had tried this as an entry, a 1, 2, 3 exit and price re-entering the dragon. 20 is another pocket with an RL or a price close above the dragon, then the RLXD occurs here. That's number 20. So I like that little pocket. That's like a P4, finding support here. I would get long here all the time. This one, a 2-bar low would get me out here or entering the dragon if I was worried about that. But then certainly either one of these two at 16 become collapsing dragon entries. You could get short here. If this had gotten you out, I wouldn't be offended. But the rejection at the RL90, and it didn't even get to the Bollinger Band mean, you got to get short in here or not later than here. And if you got short there, how happy are you? So that's 16. So 18, 19, 20 is the pocket. 21 is a 1, 2, 3 entry. This is also a Z3 excursion, Z2, a Z1 entry right around in here. So you could even play this as a Z2 entry, but a 1, 2, 3 entry off the bottom. The dragon crossing the baby dragon inside here. Here's the close above the dragon, which we know is good. Here's the RLXD. Here's a just about an owl entry inside here because the dragon is rolling up. The 30 has started to roll up. If your owl entry is going to be anywhere inside here, but I like crossing the 90. That's 22. 23 in this blue circle, which it's a successful P1 because it got to the Bollinger Band mean and held, found support, and then at 24, at 24 instead of failing, it rebounded and made a new high. That's a very strong entry, particularly when you come down and look at the summer. Sweet. So that's a really good entry here, or an additional entry. You could have actually 3 positions built in, which is what we did with the swing. You got to see this on UDOW, which is the triple DIA. 25 is a breakthrough of this double bottom of resistance, and I take that as a very strong signal. We're strongly into the summer. That's 25. 26 was today's vote of confidence up. Oh, there's 17. That was the emerging dragon. So if this is the collapsing dragon, where you draw the line across the belly of the RL10s and the bellies of the dragon, collapsing dragon is a breakdown of there. 17 is the breakout above the hump of this RL10. I wouldn't be offended if you drew it from here across the hump of the dragon. So emerging dragon comes up through here. That's 17. So 26 was today's vote of confidence. Strong summer move. Broke out. Is now all the way back to fair value, which is where it used to be way back here. So this is now going to be important resistance, and that move from here all the way back to the long-term fair value. I want you to see that this is the strength of the traders to move it away from long-term fair value. That's the difference between RL270 and the RL10. That's like drawing on the bow and arrow. That's how strong they are. And when they can't hold it and they launch it, bang, off it goes. So almost very symmetrical. But I also want you to notice how directional the intraday signals are on these downward, whereas the climbing up the steps, smaller ranges generally than they were back in here. That's why I favor the collapsing dragon on swings as being a great signal for intraday trading to the downside, because you get those kinds of features. That was the easiest trading intraday of all. But now we've gotten back to fair value, and now we're very near the 200-day moving average. I think the Fed got out of the way. Government's open for business. The only thing that can slow this down is if they fail to get a budget resolution and sort out the problem with the wall and that president, and get on with the business of the people. So I'm cautiously optimistic here. We're in the summer. The longer term is going from winter and going to start becoming the spring. So there's a potential for a good long move all the way back up to previous swing highs. Okay, so that's the daily quiz today. The hidden one, this RLFF, the regression line fractal framework, how far it's able to pull away from. That's how strong the traders are. And then the rebound snap gets back to fair value, and just notice the difference in times. I like that the 90 has started to roll up too, so that's a good thing. The 30 cross the 90, that's almost like the weekly 10-30 crossover, so everything's looking good. Take good care. This is Ken at Tortoise Capital. Keep your risk measured and powder dry.